Bessie, obviously it's match day -1 ahead of the second test. Do you have a starting 11 for us?
I do lose. We got 2 debuts, which is really exciting. Lesego Senakwane comes in for Matthew Brzeski, Tony Dezorzi, obviously me, David Bedingham, Brevi, Luandre Pretorius, Kyle Verena, Senjura Sammy, Corbin Bosch, Cody Youssef, Prinlin Subrian. I think that's the 11.
Great. Now, just talk us through the addition of Lesego there at the top of the order. Were there any concerns with the opening batters after that first game?
I don't think there were any concerns, Luce. I think it was, if you look across both teams, opening the batting was difficult. I think batting in the top 4 overall was difficult. There wasn't many scores for any of those batters, so I don't think you can call it concerns. I think the important thing is they trying to see what Lesego has. He's broken down the door at domestic level, so it's really exciting for him to get his debut here in Zim, and I know he's going to do well, so yeah, I wish him all the best.
Earlier we saw you checking out the wicket there. Just what are you expecting from conditions, and then of course the inclusion of the 2 frontline spinners?
I think the conditions are going to be very similar. Even chatting to the groundsman, he says there's less moisture in this wicket than in last week's match, last week's wicket. So yeah, I think the 2 spinners is just for longevity really. I think if you look at the way the wicket played in the first game, it flattens out quite nicely, and having 2 options, an off spinner in Subs as well as in a left arm spinner in Senjurin, it just covers all the bases with the 3 seamers. So I don't think it's going to be much different to the first game. I think it'll be very similar.
And then just on the captaincy, how did you feel when you were offered the captaincy? Were you shocked or nervous?
Yeah, it was super cool, Luce. It's been a dream of mine to captain. I haven't had the opportunity to do it much at a professional level. I did it quite a lot when I was younger, but yeah, I've just been traveling away from my domestic team at home, and I've had the conversation with Russell. I really want to do it, so I think it's finally got to the stage where I can get the opportunity to do it, and I'm really excited about it. And I think the biggest thing for me is that in this team everybody contributes. So even though I'm the guy with the armband for this game, we've got so many leaders in this team, and I think that'll make my job a lot easier.
One last one for me before we move on to Larry is who do you rely on as your chief lieutenants, and why?
Like I mentioned in the previous question, I think there's many guys. I think Kyle Verena's captained a lot. David Benningham's got an incredible cricket brain. Tony Dezorzi is a natural leader. Senjura Sammy is a natural leader. And those are just the guys that come to the top of my mind going into this game. And I think if you gave the captaincy to any of those guys, they would have been able to do the job extremely well. So yeah, they'll be my right-hand men.
Larry?
Kesh is out of this one. How big of a miss is he, and what are the opportunities for those coming in?
The Kesh is a massive loss. I think for any team that he plays in, he's the most successful spinner in South African history. So I think that pretty much sums up the amount we're going to miss him, I'd say. He's been a world-class performer, and in the previous game, his cricket brain, just having his leadership and his seniority with us in the team, just drags everybody with him. So yeah, he's going to be missed for sure.
Quite a few players not able to make this trip for various reasons.
Yeah.
How important is it for South Africa that they can pull so many players off the bench?
Well, I think it just shows the depth. Firstly, I think the guys that are in the squad now have knocked down the door domestically, and they've proven that they're good enough to be here. So I think if you look at the philosophy of our rugby team, they can play 3 or 4 teams at a time to compete against any international team, and I think that's the vision, is to have a lot of depth, or a lot of guys who can replace guys when they need a rest or whatever the case may be. And I think the most important thing is that the guys that are coming in are not just filling spots; they're actually good enough to be here, and they're gonna make it really difficult for Zim to beat us. And yeah, I'm super excited to see the guys gonna go.
With that many debutants in one trip, so Zimbabwe having lost the first one, we're probably looking at it thinking they really think they may have a chance in this one. What do you do with the youngsters that are coming in and those that are in, not to be complacent, in order to close out this series?
Well, I think the important thing is that this team is not, like I said, not filling gaps. They're not here to just make a debut and then never play again. I think the important thing is that these guys are good enough. And yes, Zimbabwe might think that they're new guys coming through, but they're pushing for a spot as well, the guys who are making their debut. And if they get runs, they put pressure on the guys above them. So I think that's the whole mental side of it, is that no one is taking it lightly. No one is thinking now that we 1-0 up, we're going to just walk through them in the second game. We know how tough Zimbabwe can be to beat, and especially on that wicket, like you get lose a cluster of wickets, anyone can win the game. So the important thing is that we stay switched on, and that the guys coming in really put their hands up and make it difficult for the guys who supposedly own those spots at the moment.
And finally, a couple of guys missed out on scores. Bettingham, Dazozzi to a certain extent. What has been their response to? I mean, it's easy to think about when you've won the match, but wanted to come in and cash in the second match.
Those guys are run scorers, to be honest. I think Tony's got a 100. Betters averages over 15 first class cricket. Those guys are not going to take it lightly for not getting runs in the first game, and I think if you know them and their characters, I think the only way they can, I don't want to say keep people quiet, but keep their spot really, is by getting runs. Both of them, I think, when their backs are against the wall, in particular, will stand up, and it's quite exciting to see them hungry. I think there was a couple of hard conversations as a team. We don't have to go into too much depth of that, but I think the important thing is that those guys have a point to prove, and they've done it so many times before that I've got no doubt that they're going to do it again. But yeah, I'm just excited to see them go out there and play with freedom.
Okay, all the best.
Thank you.